I'm coming into this one a little late, but I think that's a good thing because this game deserves more time spent on it. Assassin's Creed Shadows feels like a big moment for the franchise, its publisher and developer Ubisoft, and for gamers all around. For Ubisoft, this was practically a make-or-break moment, as Ubisoft's recent flops had put the company in a precarious situation with the possibility of being sold and bought up outright. And if Assassin's Creed Shadows wasn't a success, who knows if the franchise would still be able to continue. But thankfully, AC Shadows rose to the occasion and managed to deliver. But it didn't just deliver, it exceeded past expectations. For all of its shortcomings, which I'll get to, and all the drama surrounding this game's release, Ubisoft crafted a game that stands shoulder to shoulder with the other greats in this franchise. Hi, my name is Jay, and welcome to Good Games Dude. Even though I wasn't the most excited going into Assassin's Creed Shadows, the game managed to surprise me. Past AC games have gained a reputation for being bloated, expansive games that take forever to beat. But I'm happy to say that Shadows bucks that trend, with story and content that is both rewarding and well written. In fact, probably the aspect that surprised me the most was this game's writing. As I talked about in my video essay for Naoe, the game's main protagonist, this game deals with themes of revenge, justice, and hope in a way that goes beyond a traditional revenge tale. And there are plenty of moments of intense action blended well with the quiet and reflective moments. But that doesn't make the game free from flaws, as Assassin's Creed Shadows repeats old mistakes relating to its controls, and it takes its foot off the gas as it gets closer to the finish line. Even with a few shortcomings, however, Assassin's Creed Shadows managed to surprise me, even as a longtime fan. So no matter if you've been with this series since the beginning like me, or are taking the leap of faith for the first time, join me as I talk about why Assassin's Creed Shadows is one of the best AC games in recent years. I'd consider myself to be an old-school Assassin's Creed fan. When I was younger, I eagerly picked up and played every game in this series from the beginning. But as time went on and as the games became more open world and role-playing orientated, I slowly faded out as I longed for the series to return to its smaller, denser roots like that of Assassin's Creed 2. Even though Shadows doesn't completely reverse course and return to the classic style of games, I think it does a good job of finding the right middle ground between old and new. One way it does this is by putting the emphasis back on assassins and Templars. As Naoe, the young shinobi, she sets out on a mission to hunt down a masked group named Shinbaku, a group that killed her father. Along the way, she'll encounter a samurai ronin named Yasuke, who definitely doesn't fit into the typical assassin mode. While I wasn't a fan of the dual protagonist concept in Assassin's Creed Syndicates, I enjoyed it here as this game really emphasizes the differences between the two. Naoe is extremely fast, excels at climbing, swinging around and killing enemies silently, while Yasuke is perfect for breaking things, taking on large groups, and helping to establish Japan's love for baseball. This character separation also adds a deeper layer of strategy, as players have to really consider their approach before every encounter and do their best to stick to their laid out plans. And when those plans do go wayward, part of the fun is dealing with situations your character isn't suited for, as players have to then do their best to improvise and regain control of the situation. But outside of combat, one of the best parts about this game is how it deals with exploration and how players interact with the world. This game still brings back the traditional vantage points of Assassin's Creed games, but there's a great change in that climbing to these vantage points doesn't immediately get rid of the map's fog. Instead, vantage points will still highlight certain areas worth exploring, but it's up to the player to go to these locations, scout them out, uncover their secrets, and find out where to go. And doing so is a great joy, as the world of feudal Japan is one of the most beautiful settings in all of gaming, perfectly rendered with all of its lively creatures, individuals, and multiple seasons. Even though I praised the game in a previous video for its breathtaking story, the one drawback is that the story feels front-loaded, with all of its big secrets and reveals happening mostly in the first half. Once I got past the halfway point and coming up to the end, I kept expecting a twist or a complication that never occurred. I was surprised at how straightforward the plot remained, and I was even more surprised at where the game ends. The game's story simply just stops. And on the gameplay side, Shadows falls into that same familiar old problem of not being able to precisely control where your character is going. In this game, it implements an old idea from Assassin's Creed Unity, where the B or circle button is used to descend buildings. But it unfortunately doesn't have the same level of fluidity. The issue is that the A or the X button on PlayStation is still responsible for climbing up on rooftops, leaping across gaps, entering through windows, and oh yeah, also for descending buildings as well. Too many actions are attached to this one button. There are countless times when I got detected simply because I couldn't get Naoi to be where I wanted her. Issues aside, however, there's a lot of enjoyment to be had, primarily because of the little things. It's the fact that the game offers so many historical details and encyclopedic information that the player can read through as they discover these real-life locations and events. It's the fact that cutscenes and side quests are filled with plenty of interesting and well-written characters that players get attached to and can form relationships with. It's the fact that lighting plays a role in sneaking around, making the player feel like a proper ninja. It's the fact that close quarters combat can be extremely visceral, with brutal executions that make the player feel like a proper samurai. And it's the fact that players can express themselves in a multitude of different ways, whether it be through the game's base building, dressing up your characters in beautiful outfits, or by deciding to take the sneaky approach, climbing up the walls, using the predetermined routes, harkening back to the climbing mechanics of old. To be fair, I don't think any of these games are truly perfect. Even the best entries in this series have issues that I don't enjoy and that could be adjusted. And the same could be said about Assassin's Creed Shadows. Even though the game doesn't reinvent the wheel, what it does do is remind us of how fun it can be to teleport back in time and change the course of history with one kill. The Assassin's Creed franchise is responsible for helping to establish and influence so many conventions that we know today. It's argued that games like Ghost of Tsushima, Spider-Man, and Horizon Zero Dawn wouldn't be here without Assassin's Creed. And it's only right then that the series would come back, reinvent itself, and pave a new path forward with a new game that'll hopefully be as impactful. Assassin's Creed Shadows somehow manages to bring back the old fans with a classical approach to combat and climbing, while also creating new ones with amazingly written characters and a gorgeous environment that transports the player back in time. There are hardly any extra missions that felt boring or tedious, a momentous feat for a game that's filled with over 50 hours of content. And even the quieter moments of meditation and prayer are highlighted. creating a balanced experience that is, yes, flawed, but also valued. Assassin's Creed Shadows gets my rating of a 4 out of 5. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, feel free to like and subscribe. And for more on this series, check out my video on why Assassin's Creed Unity is a gaming essential. More videos like this are on the way, so come back soon for more on the best that video games have to offer.